Do you hear anything?
Hey guys.
Hi everyone. I've unmuted everyone's mics just so you can talk to Bryan. So everyone's on mute. If it gets really chaotic, we might mute people apart from Bryan. Now I don't think people can hear Bryan, so we'll try and get his mic unmuted because I know people have questions for him. If any of you guys managed to, if you had any technical snafus with starting with the group, you can go back out of Zwift, go back in, pick New York as the course, pick the park perimeter loop as the route, and then it'll say join Bryan Mac, and you can actually join back in. Now the only thing is, if you do join back in, you have to stay with Bryan. The no drop function won't work. So if you pedal too fast, you lose Bryan in the group. You just have to keep up and go slow, go fast, keep up with them. Okay, so hopefully Bryan's mic will be turned on, and I'm gonna jump out of this here and leave Bryan, the hosting over to Bryan.
Oh.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Bryan.
Hi, Bryan.
Yes, I'm here.
Hello.
Okay. Right. Technical issues there, I think. Can you hear me all?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I better catch you all up on Zwift, huh? About 400 watts now to get back on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so I don't think I can.
Is that sorted, Kev? Save me texting you.
Yeah, that should be sorted now, Bryan. Everyone should be able to hear you. And so, guys, if you have questions for Bryan, jump on in. If anyone has any trouble with the ride, sometimes Zwift can kick people out of rides. Let me know and I can explain how to get back onto it. But apart from that, I'm going to jump back out here and leave it over to Bryan.
Sorry, Kev. My fault this end.
No worries. Technology always complicates everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, guys, we did send on some of your questions to Bryan, but if you want to just ask them there, Bryan is a wealth of experience and has done tons of really high-level cycling and triathlon. So don't be shy. Jump in with your questions and you can chat away. We also have Lachlan Walsh on the call. He mightn't thank me, but he's the president of Triathlon Ireland. If you have any constitutional questions, you can ask Lachlan. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thanks, Kevin. I have to try and stay with Bryan. I think Bryan would better answer these questions, though.
Yeah.
You know exactly hanging out. Well, after our 10 minutes of 400 watts, Bryan, we'll see how you are.
10 minutes? There's bloody 20 minutes of it yesterday in the race. Yeah, so, oh, look, I'm just happy to just be a bit sociable. Stuck out in this garage. But look, there could be worse things happening. So I'm just happy enough to kind of yap and chat. Kids and my wife were sick looking at me at this stage. But they've grown to kind of over there. If they look over to the right, they just see this image looking at a wall, they think. But it's this thing that's taken off called Zwift. So, oh look, you can do whatever work. Sorry?
Would you have used the like the Zwift before or Smart as a sort of an app part of your training, or is it just kind of forced upon you now with circumstances?
For more sociable, yes, or no. No, I haven't used it, but yes, I've used it because of the circumstances we're in. I was always using Trainer Road just for sessions. I just went on Zwift a couple of times and I never gave it a chance. I was kind of going, oh, that's just a computer game. But yes, it is. But I've done a couple of races and it's kind of a bit addictive, isn't it? You know, to start you off at the bottom level wise, and the instinct that you have is, well, I want to be higher. So what do? You have to ride more. And plus it's the learning aspect of it. Like I was, like yesterday, I think the first couple of races I've done, I thought I've done okay, and I've done absolutely crap. But I'm not actually going too bad numbers wise. So I'm trying to remind myself that I'm actually going okay, not to put everything up and done deal at the moment.
And Bryan, Loughlin here. How are you? I'm sure everyone knows you're trying to qualify for Tokyo with Donica. Like, how has this impacted you and Donica training together?
Oh, well, we're not yet.
Well, yeah, but
100% impacted, but it doesn't really change much in terms of the training. It just has changed the process of races and trying to get the points to qualify. But like, it is what it is. Dunica's actually getting some great training in, where the races have interrupted them training, getting a good block in. So if we take a positive out of it, this year out will give him a great opportunity to get some base work in, because he's only new to the sport and he's always been chasing points in races, so he's never had that winter, you know.
yeah.
So he's getting some good work in. I'm breathing heavy because I think I have to catch up a bit. Yeah, I can see. I know it's a no drop ride, but I think I dropped myself.
We should all sit up, lads, and let Bryan get it back on.
There you
Then we're on
are.
the road.
There you
He's not there
are.
behind me. There we go.
Hey!
All my mates, huh? Those were my mates.
I think I'll have to slow down now. 15 minutes. No,
Have you signed up to any of the virtual Ironman races, Bryan?
see,
No, that's a different channel, isn't it?
I think so.
3, 2, 1,
Yeah, haven't looked at that, but I'm trying to. I think that's a closed club. I think I need a bit of an in there.
It's complicated getting it all to work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like there's so many moving parts. Like tons of people have missed
Kev,
their ride.
Kev, you may unmute yourself,
Come
Kev.
on. 5 minutes.
Or mute. I think we can hear Kevin in the background, can we?
Agree.
But no, going back to that virtual Ironman, Zwift has taken so much of my energy to kind of understand. I kind of just have looked at it. But there's other stuff like full gas. There's that Ruby, I think. So I'd like to explore them all, but we'll see. I don't know if I was racing yesterday and I recorded it myself and I uploaded it. You can fast forward to when I'm racing and it's just brutal. Absolutely brutal. Have any of you tried it?
Not yet, no.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just hardship for 30-40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's good. It's like, if you need to get that work done, or you want to get that work done, it's a good, another way you turn up to a race and you'll get the effort out that you won't on training day when nobody's about. But it can be a bad thing at the same time. You can really overdo it, overstep the mark. But look, we just have to be careful.
Well, I heard, Bryan, is that it's not like a road racing, that it's full on all the time. It never lets up.
Yeah, like it is a game, but at the same time, I just need to still reserve judgment on it, because like yesterday, for example, I put out my best effort, I'd say, for 20 minutes. Well, level of my best.
Yeah.
And I was just hanging in the group by a thread. So I just know from experience, if I was on the road and doing that effort, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
You know, but I think bigger lads are getting penalised, whatever way. I don't actually know, but from my kind of head thinking, I think it just suits the 70-kilo lad. I think it's fair game for 70 kilos, but there's no fair game for 90 plus. You know.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. They seem to work out your speed to your watts per kilo.
Yeah, but that's all. I can see that.
Yeah.
And I can see my daughter's coming out here. She sees me looking and talking to someone. She's like, who are you talking to?
Hello.
But yeah, but still, I don't really know. I'm asking questions of guys that I know, but I don't think everyone wants to give away their secrets. You have to find out the hard way. You know. But what about preparations, Lachlan, for you for the? I'd say you just have to sit in your hands on the Triathlon Ireland side of things.
Yeah, well, I'm very unfit at the moment, so I've had a couple of months off the bike with injury.
Yeah.
So this is actually, like, I was out on my own on the bike, just getting some endurance in before we locked down.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd hang on in a race, even on the road now.
Okay.
I don't do the open races. I do the best races.
Oh, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well structured. You're going into races with lads, like-minded lads.
Exactly.
Don't want to crash.
No, so I'm just one group below semi-scratch, but I'm no way fit enough to hang on in there at the moment.
Yeah.
So this actually helps. I might, if we kick off in July or August, I might actually hang in.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe just some aerobic training and then just one 30-minute race every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To get you ready. You know.
And Bryan, how are you finding having to adapt to things? I'm sure you're very used to structure and having your day and under normal circumstances mapped out for you. And now suddenly you can't swim, your run is restricted, and your bike is obviously in the shed. And you kind of found it hard to adjust.
Not really, because this is kind of forced upon us, isn't it? So you kind of just have to accept it. But I'm actually training better, I think, than I usually do. So I'm not going to use this as an excuse, so I can't get this done. Yes, I won't know what way the swimming is until we get in the water, but in terms of fitness-wise, my daily routine, like us all, I suppose, it's 100 miles an hour. So this has slowed everything down and kind of allowed more time for rest, I suppose, and then getting sessions done. I'm getting a run and a turbo in every day, whereas that plan could be written down for a particular day on a normal schedule, and something just comes up. It's sick, or somebody wants to meet me at work, and it just doesn't happen. But there's actually no interruption training-wise here. And I'm actually, I think I'm touching 20-hour training weeks. I've never done that in my life. You know, so look, it is what it is, isn't it?
I'm finding it hard to get up early in the morning. I'm usually an early morning trainer.
Yeah, well, funny
And
enough,
then I say
Yeah.
to myself I'll do it in the afternoon or evening, but then I don't.
well, there's this thing that I have in my head. If I miss my opportunity to train that day, I have to look and say, I kind of have to have that forced option saying, I have to do it. You don't really have to, but you have to say, well, I have to do that because if I don't, it just frigs everything up. So if you miss it, I've had to give up. These guys that train like you at 6 in the morning, 7. I've never really done that since the kids came along because I tried to do it. My kids are very, they would wake up on just a toe on the floorboards. So if I didn't get up at 5 where they're in deep sleep, I'd never get out the door. But if I tried to get up at 6, they're awake. So I've had to, I don't really have any training done before 9 o'clock until they get to school where I'm juggling it. So I'm actually well used to the lie-in and training late. We've many people on the ride. We're all together
Kevin
anyway.
didn't know that.
Everyone in green.
Sticking together anyway.
Yeah, well, it took me a while to get back on. I know it's a no-drop ride, but it was definitely an effort to get on. That's us 30 minutes in, an hour to go. You know, like...
Only time in my life I'll be ahead of Bryan McCrystal.
But of course, the reason you got dropped, Brian, you know, you got off the bike, and once Kevin saw that, like a typical cyclist, he put the hammer down.
But did you meet up with Eve on this, Bryan?
So it's Kevin here again. Brian, we have a few questions which people sent us in, so I might throw some of them to you. You can hear me there, Brian, can you?
Brian's on mute.
Oh.
I just unmuted you there, Brian.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I might throw some of the questions because people sent some in. So Neil Griffin, I don't know if Neil's on the Zoom call. He wanted to know, how do you increase your FTP? Nice, simple question for you there, Brian, to start off.
Yeah, the old FTP, the holy grail of determining how good or bad you are. I think it just shouldn't be overthought if you're only starting. But the best way for somebody starting off in the sport, cycling or endurance sport, is aerobic training. So you have to build that strength. And that's that zone 1, zone 2 work, mainly zone 2. And you will increase your FTP by training there. If you were to be an experienced athlete and you're at it years, you know, I have found that those long 30, 40-minute efforts at like a sweet spot, a wee bit below your 70.3 pace or effort, that will work to increase your FTP, but they're very hard and they're not to be attempted really until you're fit. So you wouldn't go at that if you're starting off your training or winter block. But so there's two ways to go about it. If you're a beginner, you have to just be patient, get out and ride, do the miles. Don't probably do what somebody experienced does, because they already have years of aerobic strength in their body. So you need to just be patient. Zone 1, zone 2 work, solid work, and then, you know, take it from there. So I don't know if you're experienced or not experienced, but if you are, you're racing years, try build it to maybe 2 by 15 minutes at kind of tempo with maybe 5 to 7 minutes recovery. And as you get stronger, build that to 2 by 20 minutes. And then I don't think you need to pass that 40-minute, 45-minute mark, those longer efforts. And they will really work and help you on your threshold for your FTP, building your FTP.
Hi, I'm Oliver. I'm just saying my laptop turned off, so I'm about a minute behind. So I'm trying to catch up now.
Yeah.
One question I would have probably would be, so I'm a bit like Donica. I'm 15 and I'm a para athlete. I'm just wondering, how do you train with running? Like, obviously I can't go outside to run. So I was wondering, have you used like Zwift run or anything like that?
I used the last few runs. It's very much like just the cycling. Are you visually impaired? Have you any vision?
Yes. Yeah. I've got center vision in my right eye, and then the rest of it's just, yeah.
And can you make out the screen?
Yes, I can make out the screen, yeah.
Yeah, well, the Zwift run would be good. Because it's very detailed in terms. What metric do you use to measure your run? Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it yet, no. We're thinking about buying a treadmill. But...
Yeah, well, I obviously have a treadmill, but I use a Stride foot pod.
Yes, yeah.
And it measures power and your run speed and cadence. And I've been using that for 2 or 3 years, so I actually don't. It's the same way. I'm taking the principle across from cycling to like measure power and your effort into running. So I run on power.
Okay, yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
I have my same principle. I have my threshold numbers, my zones and power by running, and it's very accurate. It has never let me down. It's brilliant for races, especially in longer distance races where as soon as you run out of transition, you're on power straight away, because in races you normally go on feel, and sometimes the body can lie and you actually says to yourself, oh, I feel great, and then after 3k you're like, shit, like so that, because I go back to the Ironman I did in Yall. I went out in power and it was a blessing, because I wasn't in the running shape I would have loved, but it kept me under wraps and it got me to, you know, just do a more steady run. Donica uses Stride and has done for the last year or two, and it works really well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And have you any races coming up?
Um,
You new? What have you done?
I haven't done anything really. I'm only 15, so I still can't properly race. But yeah, I've got a few ideas coming up, but a lot of them are cancelled so far. So
Yeah. Yeah, well, you just have to do the work like everyone else, I suppose. Just have yourself ready to make a decision when something happens.
yeah,
And there'll be lots of opportunities to race because, well, like you said, you're 15, so the most important thing now is probably just learning the sport, maybe getting yourself in the right condition. One thing I'd say to you is just don't be in a rush to be the best you can be. Just take your time. It'll take years and years of learning. Like all those sessions, just tick them off. And sure, look, there's plenty of support there. You'll get it wherever you can. There's a great support network up there for para. Well, are you in the north?
yeah.
You sound like you're in the north.
Yeah, I'm from.
Yeah. So yeah. So look at privately. If you need any advice, just give me a shout after this.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw you and Donica racing at the duathlon up at Naas, was it? I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good race there.
Yes, we're flying, yeah.
Yeah. It was a cold day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a cold day, yeah.
Oh my God. It was that cold, nobody wanted to warm up.
No. I think I'm just about caught up with you now. I'm just coming up to the backies.
All right, well, take a breather. Sit on for a while.
There we go. I'm just up with you now.
Good lad.
The benefits of being 56 kilos.
Oh, Jesus. I think I was that weight when I was 12.
I might jump in with another question for you there that people emailed into us, Bryan. Karen Gunning, and I guess this is kind of related, asked, what age did you start training seriously at? And maybe you can tell people a bit about what you did before triathlon, because people might not realize, but Bryan would be really well known in cycling circles, where he had a pretty long and storied sporting career before he started triathlon.
Yeah, well, when did I start training? I've always trained. I've always had that structure of Tuesday, Thursday, weekend since I was 9. But seriously, I started training when I was 14, 13, when I was a soccer player, wanted to make loads of money, be a professional, not do the normal job. So that kind of happened for a split second until I was about 20. And then I gave up all the soccer stuff when I was 26, 27, started running. I liked running, I always ran. So it's probably why it's not too often you'd see lads like myself from field sports coming to endurance sports and doing okay at it, because it's that different type of training system that's required. That on, off, sprinting, stopping, walking. Whereas this game is like a slow burner, that aerobic engine that's needed. So, but since I was probably 14, I used to go out running on my own, going for long jogs in between team training sessions. But looking back now, for the sport at the time, it was the wrong thing to do. Because what I was doing was I was building an aerobic engine, or overbuilding it for my sport. I should have been better off doing speed, agility, quickness stuff on my own. But I was doing these long runs, so always did it. And I think when I got to 26, 27, when I quit football, I had this base just done by accident. So I was okay at running. I ran Dublin Marathon in 2007 and done all right at that. But I hated the everyday running, so I took up cycling. I took up triathlon first. Bought a bike in 2008, January 2008, February. My first race was Tri-a-Thai. I think I, like everybody, or not everybody, at the turnaround, at the way out and back, at the turnaround, I fell off my bike, wrecked myself, and came home, loved it, had the bug. The second race was the brutal UK 70.3 in Wimbledon, in Exmoor. Is it Exmoor? And it was brutal. So it's one of the worst things you can do. If you're only starting off, don't do a half Ironman as one of your first races. And so I've always been in triathlon, but I've gone in and out of maybe sports in terms of, for a few years, until 2012, 13, I was just doing triathlon. Then I cycled for a few years, a couple of teams, and then back to triathlon, maybe in and out. But I kind of try and mix both at the moment. You know, so I've always been training, always doing something. You know, it's that drug, isn't it? Hope that answers your question. Long-winded way.
You cycled as a pro, Brian, didn't you? And did you do the tour?
Oh, no, I didn't make that. I'd only fill the bottles if I went there. I'd be ringing bells on the side of the road. No, the only pro race I did, or you could call it one, felt like one. For 8 days, you were professional as the Ross. So I've done that a few times. But no, it's just amateur teams here in Ireland. I've been with, you know, professional sport and cycling. There's some very good riders here in Ireland, really good. That could make a career out of it, but it's that they don't try and do it because you can't really make a living out of it if you're starting off. And it's not that the guys are getting supported. They're the ones that are on the continent that are cycling in the lower leagues are doing it for more of the love than the reward. And to get to that elite level is very hard. Very hard. I remember even just to use, we all know who Sam Bennett is. We can say he'd always make it. He's top class, but I'd say even he had his struggles, because when he was with An Post, we were doing the Sure Valley around August bank holiday, and he was on the An Post team. It was must be 6 years ago. And like, he wasn't getting the rub of the green. He wasn't riding away from amateurs that work 9 to 5. You know, and you can see the frustration. So I'd say around that time, it was it's like, you know, you're on the balance whether you make it or not. And he just showed such resolve to kind of make it. And he's probably one of the stories you can tell, like, look at where he's gone. But when professional riders come over here to race against the lads, it's just not handy, you know. We all still together. We are indeed.
Yeah, just boys.
Ron, I got another question for you here from Sarah. Who is it from? Sarah S. Reenan, maybe Sarah C. Reenan. And she wants to know what your pre-race morning routine is like.
Oh yeah, well, what I've done over the years is, believe it or not, I don't like eating in terms of solid food. So my morning race ritual is, and these have been long distance races I've done, and how to, well, they work for all races, I suppose. So when you go away and travel away, you don't know where you're going, be it hotels or what have you, so you never know what's on offer. So years ago, I just read up about it, about just trying to take your calories in a drink, basically. So what happens, you make sure you have a drink that has the calories and all the supplements, I suppose, your salts and all that in it to kind of replicate food, get the calories in. And what happens there, if the race is on, say 7:30 in the morning, the last thing I want to be doing is eating breakfast at 5 a.m. And because you're after having your dinner probably 7 o'clock the night before, so you're not full, so you have all this food in here, and that's where you get gastro problems and all that. So what I like to do is I like to stay in bed. So if the race is at 7:30, I will wake up probably 5:45. I'll probably just get ready, coffee, and I would just have all my gear ready the night before. So basically what I'm doing is I just get up, get ready, probably quick coffee, put all my gear on, put my backpack on, walk down to the race start or go to the race start, and I'm having my breakfast as I walk or I travel to the race. So about an hour, 75 minutes before the race, the calories and everything are in my body, ready to go. You do your swim, you get on the bike, and then you start your fueling then when you're on the bike. And it goes for the same if that's a local race where you're driving to the race. So you'll time it. If you had like a 9 o'clock start in the Thai, for example, I would get up, hop in the car, and then just time it that about when I get to just before Dublin, an hour to go to I get there, I'll start taking my pre-race drink. So that's basically breakfast. It works great. It's how I actually got involved with lately, Enervit. You know, I was taking the last year. It worked really great. I was taking their carb supplement. Well, it was a multidextrin and mixing it, and it's really good for the tummy. So yeah, it's good. It's a simple way of approaching it because, you know, so when you travel, so much crap that you might consume that you don't want. Kevin's gonna do it right. Is he?
Yeah, I'm trying to join in with you. My wife Jennifer was on the ride, but she's done now. So we've got a new baby, so we hand the baby to one another, and the other person gets the ride. So we'll see if I can join you.
Is Derv on the ride?
She
Kevin,
was, yeah. She's off the ride now, and I'm on it.
Fair play to her.
Yeah.
What, 5 weeks?
5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Well
yeah.
done, Derv.
Yeah, well done. Hope you're taking your turn, Kev. Helping out.
Well, you'll note that she got on first, so yeah, I hope I am.
Oh, clever boy.
Fair is fair, you know. Bryan, what's the toughest place you've gone in terms of food? Because you've probably been to some, you know, places where the cuisine is really not like what you get at home.
I went to Estonia, I think. I don't know what was there. Years ago. Everything was real dark coloured. So I actually raced really well. I had a great race. It was actually one of my best races. It was a tri-star. So most people know I'm not a great swimmer, or I'm kind of just outside where I need to be to win a race in the swim, and I catch up on the bike. But I saw online that there was this race format called the 1-1-1, and 1K swim, 100K bike, 10K run. Bang, sign me up. So I signed up, went to Estonia, and there was a load of pros, but this is 2011. So I didn't know who was who, and there was big pro lineup, and sure, yours truly was in it too. All of a sudden, after 30 kilometers, I was thinking third or fourth place, and got off the bike and ran. And you know what? Inexperience and ignorance is brilliant at that stage, because you don't know where you are. You just run on pure nothing on your own. But anyway, it turns out that I closed the winner to 15 seconds. I had the fastest run, all that. The winner was Thomas Hellriegel, that won Kona. Obviously, he wasn't in his prime. And there's 2 or 3 other lads that are making a career out of it in triathlon Ironman now that were behind me. So yeah, it was a good race. That format really suited me. It's one I did in Switzerland. It came back, it surfaced in Switzerland there a couple of years ago, and I went over and did it, and I won it. Ronnie Schwellneck from Switzerland was second. So if that format was ever to become, you know, something, which it won't, that would be ideal for me. I think Triathlon Ireland should do a series, a 1-1-1 series.
Keep lobbying, Bryan. Maybe we will.
Yeah. And there's the 1-1-1, but there's the 5-5-5 as well. So it's a 500 swim, 50K bike, 5K run. I think they're great distances.
And just firing another question at you, Bryan, that was sent in to us by Dara Skiing. He wanted to know what your favourite race location is.
Oh, sure. I couldn't look past y'all. after last year, huh? Like,
That was a tough day out.
yeah, in terms of where it was and what it was about, y'all. But look, probably let's forget it, y'all. I'd say, let me think about that. No, Staffordshire. Staffordshire was good a couple of years ago. It was a lovely race.
And is it just that the rolling course, or what is it about?
Yeah,
that's so
yeah,
good?
it was nice. It was nice. It was nice lakes. It was a wee bit logistic-wise was hard to kind of maneuver, but the swim was great in the lake. Rolling course, lovely countryside, and then the run was in that upbeat town where you're running around in and out. Plenty of support. The race kind of just goes by like that. It was good. I liked it as well.
How would you rate y'all as a course? The bits that you did, I guess you didn't get to do the swim, but the rest of it you did.
The route is fine. It's just there was just some surface problems, you know, which you're going to get in Ireland. But yeah, I did like it. I did like it very much, and it is like where it was and the people and really grabbed hold of it and ran with it, and they made the race, you know. But it is a good course. But we didn't get to do the swim. Don't know if I'd be saying that if I had done the swim. But that sea, Chris Minturn, I'd say it'd be deadly. But maybe I'll get to do the whole thing someday.
I guess we just got to wait for they've been very unlucky with the various circumstances that have hit them with the weather last year, and now with COVID-19. Like every race has been unlucky this year.
Yeah, it's really hard, but there might be a bit of everybody be rushing to get their race done. I think it'd be hard to you guys to manage the calendar. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, we'll see.
Maybe Lachlan can give us a little update on what the plans are with the calendar. Lachlan, would you like to do?
Yeah, so we've cancelled everything with all racing till the end of June, and all club training till the end of this month. So the concept, depending on government advice, is we're hopeful that there'll be some level of training, club training allowed in June. And then we get back racing in July.
Yeah.
But that's very much depending on government health advice. So we have a couple of scenario plans done out. And if necessary, we'll push the season into November, December. You know, going to suit Bryan because we obviously will be having duathlons then.
Yeah, brilliant.
But
forget about the
whole
swimming.
idea is that we try to give some racing this year, but it's very, very unclear at the moment. We're also looking at different formats. So if social distancing is still an issue, we might have to have staggered starts. It's similar to a time trial in cycling. Everybody goes off a minute apart from each other. There's various different things we're looking at. But until we get some certainty from the health authorities, it's all conjecture at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, the hope is, though, that we will have some real racing this season, you know, in some format.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, Lachlan, that triathlon as a sport is quite well set. If there are limited social distancing regulations in place, we can run our races as time trials, which is really quite a good from our perspective.
Yeah, and like the organisation is very healthy financially. We're in a lucky situation where 95% of our races are run by clubs, so they're not for profit. Like a big problem on the continent now is a lot of the race organisers are in financial trouble. So even next season may be a problem on the continent because the race organisers may no longer be there. So because we sort of concentrated on making sure our race organisers are clubs, we're in a very strong position to come back next year with a strong season, regardless of what happens this year.
Yeah, that's good. Probably less people probably want to leave. Might stay here. You know, really fill up our races, support our own.
Yeah, like I think there's going to be huge appetite to race now once things start lifting. So I think part of our problem now, if we do have a truncated season, is making sure everybody gets an opportunity. Everybody who wants to race gets an opportunity to race.
Yeah.
So that'll be a great problem to have.
Sure.
All of this is dependent on the current restrictions being lifted, and we, as an organisation, just have to kind of wait and see, don't we? Follow the government advice.
Yeah, like the one thing we're not going to do is put any of our members at risk. So, like we're in regular contact, weekly contact with government on the sports side, and they're feeding through the recommendations from public health. So, you know, we're at the end of the day, we're going to follow the recommendations of the public health experts because we're not public health experts. So if that means, you know, we have to put things off for a little bit longer than we like, so be it, you know. There'll be plenty of racing in the future. You know, we may have to suffer a little bit this season though.
Yeah.
So, Lachlan, this might be a bit inside baseball for some people. I know not everyone is excited by AGMs, but yesterday we did successfully host the first ever virtual AGM to be held by a sporting organisation. I know a lot of other NGVs were watching it to see how it went. Maybe you can tell people how it went and who got elected and what the actual mechanics of it, how it works.
Yeah, so I think yesterday we have to have our AGM by the end of April. Obviously, it's usually in a room. We can't do that. So we took some legal advice and were advised that it was okay to hold it virtually. So that we put together a private Zoom call. We had 62 clubs on the call. We also streamed it live on our YouTube channel. So if you can't sleep tonight, it's up there on our YouTube channel and put you to sleep in about 5 minutes. But like I think some of the main things we talked about, what would be of interest here actually with this group, part of our strategy is empowering clubs. We're doing very well there. One of the things where we're not going to hit our objectives though is international racing. We haven't been successful in bringing ITU or ETU international racing back to Ireland. We've done a lot of political work on that, and I think once we get a race that's willing to apply, we're pushing an open door with the ITU and ETU. But we do need to figure out how we're going to organise that. We want clubs to organise it, and we need to protect the clubs and TI financially. So there's a member of Galway Tri Club, Emma Killian, was elected as a board member, and in her professional life, they're event organisers. So she organises globally about 200 to 300 events a month. So she's going to bring a lot of expertise to the board to help the executive. That'll be something we'll be working on over the next while. The other board member who's elected was Anna. Oh, no, it's going to Anna. Jeez, that's awful. I forgot her name. Deegan. Thank you very much, Gavin.
Deegan, yeah.
Yeah, member of a Thai Tri Club. and she has a background in working with LSPs. And she works for an LSP, local sports partnership, and particularly around women in sport, which is one of the big things, big pushes we've been putting on over the last number of years. I think, like for us to hold that online, not only like Sports Ireland we're watching, a number of other federations in Ireland. We've also been contacted by a number of international federations to share the experience, to see how it went. So we're really leading from a governance point of view on how, you know, we're able to put something like that together and run it successfully.
Yeah.
I think the only downside was, you know, normally we'd get a AGM be at 2 hours. I think it took about 3.5, Kevin. So it went on a little bit longer because of,
or even more, might have gone into the 4th hour.
yeah. So, but
the good thing about it is you can fast forward through the bits that don't interest you, which you can't do when you actually attend an AGM.
Exactly. So, as I say, if you want to get to sleep tonight, it's on our YouTube channel.
Very good. No, that's excellent.
But I think it is good for people to be able to see how the, you know, how the organization works. And, you know, a lot of time people might have questions that they're afraid to ask. And lots of these questions end up being asked at the AGM. So it can be good to just have that kind of level of transparency where everyone can see what actually goes on in the AGM.
Yeah, like I think, you know, a lot of people, rightly so, are focused on their training. You know, they're focused on, you know, if they're involved in a club, have they got pool time? Who's gonna take the ride out on Saturday? Well, in a normal circumstance. But like we are a significant sport in Ireland now. So we've 20,000 members. We have a budget of 2 million. We've got 20 staff. You know, we've quite a significant high performance team of which Bryan is part. You know, all of that takes organization. So governing that, like the board, which I chair, you know, is there to support the likes of Kevin, you know, who's our marketing manager, but also to challenge him and to make sure that he's delivering on the strategy that we've set. So he should always be a little uncomfortable. Isn't that right, Kevin?
I'm always very uncomfortable.
But we're seen as an organisation throughout both Ireland and abroad. You know, it's been fairly forward-thinking, well-run, and a lot of organisations, both triathlon and non-triathlon, look to us, and we mentor a number of organisations on how they can help themselves govern themselves, because governance sounds very boring. But if you govern yourselves well, you end up with a good strategy. You end up hiring good people. And those good people, like Kevin, close deals like our BMW deal. And that then helps us get the money to support in some way, like the likes of Bryan and Donica and their travels. But it's, as I'm sure Bryan won't mind me saying, you know, Bryan and Donica put a lot of their own money into this as well. There's no money in being a high performance athlete in triathlon. Like Bryan and Donica, we do support them as much as we can, but a significant effort for them, not only in their time, you know, but also cash to get themselves to races to try and qualify.
So we've actually lost Bryan from the feed, Lachlan. So what we might do, we still have Maxine and Amanda and Niall and Oliver. If anyone has a question for Lachlan, fire ahead. If they don't, we might finish the Zoom call since Bryan isn't here anymore. I'm sure you guys are still with him on Zwift. Yeah. I'm not on the Zwift ride. I'm just managing this Zoom call. So guys, if anyone has any question, now's your chance to corner the presidents and have them all to yourself.
Yeah,
So,
no such thing as a stupid question, guys.
There we go. I think everyone must be very happy with how things are going on with no questions.
Either that or they can't speak.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here, Brian's looking to get back in again. So we'll keep the call going, and I'll put it back onto Bryan.
Yeah, Bryan isn't appearing on Zwift now.
My back.
Hiya, Bryan. You missed it. I was waffling on about funding.
Oh, I heard.
I was explaining to the guys that, like, for the high performance team, you know, very often you guys have to put your own money into this, particularly yourself and Donica, to try and get race starts, trying to get to races.
Yeah, it's Donica has been working really hard, and he's been lucky, I suppose, that we've had the opportunity to go away, and it's a continual support of everybody that Donica and I rely on. So a huge thank you on that behalf. But I suppose because para triathlon is in such infancy with Sport Ireland, I think we need to just put our names on the map. So that's going to require a level of personal funding that you need to be prepared to do, you know.
Like, I think a good example of how challenging it is for the guys. They went to Lausanne last year on the hope of getting a race start at the World Championships. And it's very hard to get a race start. So the guys travelled and then didn't get to race. Race was full. And like, that's really challenging for them.
Yeah. Can you hear me, lads?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was. Look, we took a chance. I think that's where you need an awful lot of luck in sport, and it nearly got in. I think it would have been the perfect opportunity it was the perfect race, perfect course to kind of pit ourselves against the best. We didn't get that opportunity, but you know, we will.
Yeah. Because I think it's fair to say, Bryan, that like if you get on the start line in Tokyo next year, like you're not making up the numbers. You and Donica.
No, definitely not. Well, when I spoke with Eamon Tilly at the start, you know, like the first thing that I was kind of, you know, convinced of was Donica's not wanting his hand held. Like, he is competitive. He wants to do well. He wants to achieve. That's, you know, that's what I want. So it's a great project to be involved with. Eamon does tireless amount of work. You know, I designated in my Gmail a folder to him, dedicated it to him. There's that much coming in, but it's great. And you know what? Tokyo was still hanging in the balance whether we get there or not. I think we had a chance, but the year out, I think, could really help Donica. I think if we were on the starting line, we were definitely capable of top 8, 10. But I think next year we're going for medals. You know, I'm convinced of that because I've seen Donica and I'm watching him training, how he's improving, and I'll be a part of that. I'll definitely be trying my best to be and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Tell us a bit about, you know, how the partnership between Donegal and yourself works. Obviously on the bike, it's probably a bit simpler, although you've got to steer and balance a lot of additional weight to follow the bike, and then on the run, and especially between an awful lot of teamwork. How do you kind of get that partnership going, and what are the ways that you manage it?
Just with tandem work, why it's working so well, I think, well, I know, is because I don't have to, and Donegal doesn't have to put that much effort in. It's kind of happened naturally. Obviously, yes, we have to work on all the aspects, but even off the bike, there's a natural thing. We get on well. We're fine in each other's company. We don't have to talk an awful lot, and things are working. And only with experience and years of us being together, that'll improve and get better. Because the lads that we're racing against have been together 10 years. Like, you can't buy that, you know. And I think Donegal is smart as well. He's very astute. He picks up on things very quickly. Here are my dogs. He picks up on things very quickly. And yeah, it's just, we're working hard with as little effort as possible, you know, which is good.
I imagine Donegal keeps you on your toes during the run, Bryan. He's an incredible runner.
Well, that's my biggest fear. I'm kind of wondering, I hope he is not going to pull me around the road. But in running side of things, what's been brilliant about being with Donegal, he really kept me on top of myself. If I let my running go, I don't want to be a hindrance to Donegal. You know, the last thing I want to be is holding him back with a kilometre to go, and a medal is within grasp, and I'm not able to go with him. You know, and obviously we have to stay together. So it's given me great impetus to kind of stay on top of my run fitness.
And Bryan, do you do similar sessions on the bike? Obviously, he's less experienced as an athlete than you. But I mean, how do you make it so that your biking ability is as closely matched as possible?
Well, it doesn't need to be matched. All Donegal can do is his numbers, his training. And because when we hop on that bike, Donegal's putting out his effort for that 20k, and I'm putting out mine. And like, he has his own cranks. All I'm doing is shifting, turning. He obviously has to go to my RPM, but we're kind of natural in that regard, where we ride very similar RPM, and that's something we'd focus on. But he's definitely looks after himself in terms of his training. He'll all he has to do is his work.
And how much when you're on the bike, like how is it set up? If you're working out more watts than him, are there two separate cranks going into wheels, or are you both contributing to the same kind of drivetrain going onto the back wheel?
Yeah, well, we're in the same drivetrain, but like, if we obviously have to contribute our own effort, that's then combined to determine how fast you're going. So if I decide to, or Donegal decides to not pedal, the bike's going to get heavy very quickly. So two of us are riding our threshold or max effort, you know, and kind of, it really doesn't differ from your personal ride. So for a sprint distance, I would still be hoping to put out the exact same effort on a tandem as I do on an individual effort. And
How do you manage
it's
steering?
as simple as that.
You've got responsibility for Donica. The bike must be really heavy, must handle really differently. Like, is it a tough thing to steer?
No, it's not too bad. Yeah, you kind of have to give corners a bit of a wide berth. You're hitting them at speed, but it's okay. Donica would fit in my pocket, so sometimes you don't even know he's there.
The guts to kind of sit behind, not really be able to see what's going on, and you're hurtling. I mean, you probably tell him when there's a corner coming or a sixth sense.
No, I don't even. Donica doesn't care. The thing I would say is 10k in, or 4k to go, or the British are 40 seconds up the road, or as little amount of information as possible, because you have to remember, race, so you are maxed out of it. You can't have a conversation. So it's what's worked for us is just giving snippets. Just sometimes I would only probably push Donica towards the end of a race with 400 to go because I know he's maxed out. But like all I would say, is give him information on who's on the road and as little information as possible, because like he is a professional, he doesn't need to be roaring at him all the time. He knows what he has to do,
I would imagine it takes a certain amount of guts, though, to put your in someone else's hands and to put out a max effort. Like it's quite brave, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, well, there's probably that trust element, isn't there? But we're still learning. Like every race, you're learning something. Like we raced in Turkey that time, and we had a great result, a few scalps, and it's my fault. I racked the bike wrong, and we didn't get on the finishers list. But I'm learning. There's different rules and stuff like that, ITU, that are different, that you really have to have your nose clean. So we're always learning.
Bryan, in those races, how does the swim work in those races?
We're attached. So I would have a belt around my waist, and then we have a cord attached to Donica's upper thigh, and I just hope that when I turn around, when we're exiting the water, he's beside me. No, we're just attached, and it's something we need the most work on, but logistically to kind of get it to swim together is very hard. But we made good strides with a session in UCD with Donica's swim coach. We just have to adapt to, even I have to change my breathing and when I enter and exit my stroke. It's more important to be in sync than to just swim as hard as we can, because then we're fighting against each other. So what we've learned is we need to slow down the effort and be more in sync to get that speed. think I caught up with Owen Holmes, but I didn't catch up with everybody, I don't think, on the ride.
Yeah, it can be hard to keep everyone together and keep people connected across the various platforms, but I know
Very
we've got
busy.
people watching on YouTube who probably couldn't get on the Zoom call, and then we've got
Yeah.
6 or 7 on the Zoom call, and I imagine, I can't see the group on Zwift, but I imagine there's more still on the actual ride.
Yeah.
Most of us are still together, so
Yeah, that's good. Well, Bryan, I mean, thanks a million for taking this ride today. You're very good. Give up your time. You gave some great insights into training. I think anyone who wants to find out some kind of training secrets can watch back on YouTube. We'll certainly be letting people know about that. And for the others who come on the ride, by all means, if you have any feedback whatsoever, email us. This is still in a kind of beta mode. We're still figuring out what works best. We did a ride 2 weeks ago where everyone talked on Discord, but it didn't really work very well. So we tried Zoom today. There might be better ways of doing things. So by all means, email me back, kevin@triathloninreland.com. And we're going to try and keep improving the setup. We're going to hopefully have more high-performance athletes every week taking the social spin. So, let us know. We don't have a kind of monopoly on how best to do this. We're still exploring it ourselves.
Yeah. Well, from my side, I think it worked out okay. Obviously, a couple of lags and technical stuff, but it's great initiative on your part, Kevin and Triathlon Ireland, to make this available for the members, and anything I can do, and Donncha as well. So maybe the next time I'll try and get Donncha set up to ride,
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
And just for anyone who's listening here, we can give you a little sneak preview that we are going to be starting a time trial series on Zwift. So keep an eye out for that. We're hoping to launch it in the next week. We're trying to make it as close to triathlon racing as possible. So we'll be letting people know about that in the next few days.
Cool. Yeah, brilliant.
That's great. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks a million, Bryan. Appreciate
Thanks, Bryan.
Thanks, Bryan.
No problem.
yeah, thank you.
Zoom feed now and stop it on YouTube.
Thanks, Bryan.
Thanks, Emil.
Cheers.
Thanks, Bryan.
Cheers, lads. Bye.
Thanks, Emil.
Have a nice day.
Actually,
You too.